Hello, my name is Sarah Moore and I am a career advisor with ECU, and I would like to welcome you to this presentation on creating a job-ready resume. The aim of this session is to look at the purpose and structure of the resume, what can get you noticed by employers for the right reasons, and hints and tips for successful resumes. When you're creating a resume, it can be for a number of reasons. Number one could be to create a resume for a potential employer. So that could be for a non-advertised job. So you're looking at, an expression of interest, and that's looking at the hidden job market. You're also then looking at creating a resume for an actually specific advertised job, or perhaps you need a resume to accompany a selection criteria also for an advertised job. But the aim here is to create a targeted resume to show that you can do the future position. Targeted resumes point out information that makes you a perfect fit for the job. You want to tailor your resume to meet the individual requirements for each position. And it is obvious to employers when you have an untailored or generic resume or a one-size-fits-all. So what employers want in a graduate? So employers, in this case, nominated criteria aside from qualifications that they consider to be the most important when evaluating applicants. So you can see from this list of 10 areas that the employers put together and their perspective. So they're looking at those graduate attributes that are important to them. Number one there being interpersonal and communication skills. So your resume is a way of highlighting your written communication skills. So it's really important when you put it together that you're meeting that number one criteria of your future employer. So before you start to put your resume together, it's really important to know how to read a job advertisement. So you need to ask yourself, what don't I understand about the job advertisement? And how can I find this out? What's happening within the company or industry? Is it restructuring or expanding? And what is the main purpose of the job being offered? Why is the job important to the company? So really, this is when you need to, start investigating and researching about the organization. You really need to either get on their website, look at news items, get onto the media, jump on the internet and find out as much about that organization as possible. If there is a name and a number on the job advertisement, this is your opportunity to pick up the phone and speak to that employer and highlight your well-developed verbal communication skills by asking them the questions about the role, what's involved in the role, what are they looking for in a future applicant. You need to also think about what types of skills does the company want? What other skills might be needed? What types of personal qualities does the company want? What other personal qualities might be needed? What types of knowledge and training does the company want? What other knowledge or training might be needed? And what are the company's values and culture? And how does this fit with your own values and culture? So it's really important to do that little bit of self-awareness on yourself. Find out and look and maybe create a checklist of your own skills, personal qualities, knowledge and training, and values and culture. So you want to ensure then that you have what the employer wants and you meet their needs. We're going to look at the general resume structure. So in this case, we're looking at contact details, career objective, key competencies, skills, education qualifications, employment history, and referees. When you think about contact information, you're thinking about name, address, contact numbers, and email. What you want to ensure is that you've got a professional email. In my case, that would be sarahmoore@hotmail.com. I would stick with your name and don't go with any hobbies and interest type emails. You want to make sure it looks professional and it gets through to the employer. The same for any telephone messages, either on your mobile or another contact number. You want to ensure that the message that's on that phone is professional, so the employer will want to leave a message. So ensure that the image you're portraying through your resume is a professional image. We'll take a look at the career objectives. So a career objective should be clear and concise. A brief summary of what you are currently doing, your key skills, and what you are looking for. So your goals, your career goals. Demonstrate that you are the right fit and ensure that it is an honest statement as well. So as I mentioned, this is a concise statement about what you want to achieve in your career. It shows that you're motivated and passionate about your career, which is so important to a future employer, particularly from graduates. They want to see that you really want to get out there and you want to start developing those skills and showing the skills that you've also developed while you've been at university. So, and you also want to look at, to be sure that everything in the resume supports it and nothing contradicts it. This will give your resume a clear focus. Employers use a career objective to see whether your expectations for the job match their requirements. So again, they want to see that you will fit with the organisation. An example that we've written here: having recently completed a Bachelor of Communications, I offer up-to-date knowledge and experience in media and public relations. My skills extend to writing, editing and production across a range of electronic and print media. I'm targeting myself within corporate communications. The role advertised in the education sector will allow me to use my skills to produce targeted and effective communications for the community. So you're highlighting your goal position, which is to work within media and public relations, and you're talking about your skills that would be beneficial to the employer and how they would benefit the employer. Key skills. So this is your opportunity to show to a future employer what you can do for them. So you want to look at relevant skills for them, around 6 to 10. You want to look at some of those generic transferable skills. So think about communication, teamwork, planning and organising, and IT skills. You want to make sure that they're credible. You're able to demonstrate them, and you're being specific. So again, they're targeted towards the role that you're applying for. The aim of this section is to give the person reading your resume a quick snapshot of what you have to offer, so they place you in the shortlist pile. You want to summarise your main skills and abilities relevant to the actual role or the industry. And you want to think about those particular skills and examples of how you would demonstrate them. So remember, it's not just about listing a skill name that you have, but you want to show how you've demonstrated that you've got that skill. That will show that you've tailored and targeted your application or your resume to that position. Education qualifications. So you want to state the degree, title and the university, in this case Edith Cowan University. You will put your most recent qualification first. You'll highlight any academic achievements, your course major. You may list key subject or units if they're relevant to the position you're applying for. You don't necessarily need to list all your units and marks. Okay? If you are applying for a graduate position, an employer may ask for the details of your units and marks. In this case, you wouldn't put it in your resume, but you may be asked to send in a transcript of your units and marks. So you want to list in reverse chronological order and highlight your majors. So here is an example of how you may want to list your education or qualifications on your resume. You can see here that we haven't included high school. That is because you have education that is now higher than that after you've completed your Bachelor of Arts, or perhaps it could be even postgraduate study as well. Employment history. So here you're going to list your positions in reverse chronological order and highlight your achievements in each role. And also be mindful as graduates, you may also want to include your part-time and casual work in this section. So again, this is going to be how you highlight your skills, and you want to make sure that you include those relevant skills to the positions that you have developed. So think back on those employability skills, transferable skills of teamwork, communication, planning and organising, and show how you've demonstrated those skills in your previous roles. So you want to list your positions in reverse chronological order, give a brief details of your duties and responsibilities, use bullet points for this information so it's highlighted and easy to read, use strong verbs such as managed, organised. You want to highlight achievements in each role and use the present tense for your current position and past tense for your previous position. So if you look at responsibilities, You don't want to include every single duty and responsibility. You want to highlight the key ones for the role that you've been in that will be relevant to the role that you're applying for. With achievements, you want to look at achievements within the role. So perhaps you're thinking about staff awards, something that you created that aided within that role. So think about how you made a difference within that role. And here's an example of employment history. The employer, the date, the position is listed above, then with key responsibilities in bullet point format and a key achievement within that role. Referees. So referees, what you want to be able to do is pick referees that are going to be able to comment positively on your work performance. So in this instance, have at least 2 to 3 referees that are you were able to use. You want to ensure that they are able to comment on your past work experiences or maybe current work experiences. So you may include managers from your most recent positions. Future employers don't want to see personal referees or character referees. They want to see referees from people who have actually worked with you, where you've demonstrated your work skills. You may also think about using an academic because you are using skills with academics, whether it's through presentations or creating assignments. So if you've developed a good relationship with an academic, that could be an opportunity to speak with them, to use them as a referee. Most importantly, always gain permission from someone who you want as a referee. Don't just list their details. You need to speak with them and ask them if they will be a referee. So then you can include their contact details such as name, position, email address, contact telephone number, how you know them, so your relationship with you. So that's one of the most important things. Make sure that you have the permission of the person to be your referee. Other areas to consider on your resume is work experience and volunteer work. What you're trying to do here, again, is to make your resume more personable and highlight your skills, your achievements, and how you've given back within your community. And also what work experience you perhaps have gained through your course. So you may have gone out on practical placements. A really good way to show off those skills, those motivations, and those passions. Listed similar to your employment history, but really think about it. Take the time to reflect on the skills that you've developed there and how they will match up with the position that you're applying for. Some additional headings you may consider, but only if relevant: professional memberships and associations, further training and professional development, and your interests. Think about your professional memberships and associations. Are you entering an industry that has a professional association? Are you an engineering graduate? Are you a member of Engineers Australia? So think about your profession and your industry and who those associations and memberships are. They may be very relevant to the employer that you are a member of those associations. Also to those associations, you may have undertaken professional development. There may be areas of professional development that could be relevant to your future employer. So it could be very good to include those on your resumes as well. That also shows how you're looking to further develop your skills and how you're interested in your learning and motivated and passionate about your industry. Think about your interests. Do you have interests that are relevant to your position you're applying for? Are they another way of highlighting your skills, your values, and who you are? So think about, will it be relevant if I include my interests on my resume? Let's have a look at the presentation style. So what you want to make sure through your whole resume is that it's a professional style and the format is always consistent throughout. So if you start in one font at one size, make sure it's continued throughout the whole resume. Similarly, if you will have other documents accompanying your resume, such as cover letter or selection criteria, ensure that the font and font size is consistent throughout the whole application. You want to put your name in the footer of each page. So resume of, in my case, it would be resume of Sarah Moore. And you also want to number each page. That's so the recruiter or employer or HR person can keep your application or resume together. Use bullet points where possible. This just highlights information to the reader and it's easy to read. That's the most important thing about a resume. You want to ensure that it looks professional, but it's easy to follow, easy to read, and the most important information stands out. Leave enough white space. So again, it looks good, it looks professional, and it's easy to follow and easy to read. And if there are requirements set out by the organisation, follow those requirements. Follow the format, the font, the style, whatever way they want that resume presented, ensure that you follow their requirements. Very important not to just rely on spell checker. It does not always pick up the spelling and grammatical mistakes within a resume. So proofread that resume, do it yourself, get someone else to help you. Another tip is to read it from the bottom up, so you may be able to pick out mistakes that way. It's really important to proofread, particularly if you've written one of your skills as written communication. You're saying that you have that skill, then you're demonstrating it through your resume. So you want to ensure that the spelling and grammar is correct. Some hints and tips. Be clear about what you are seeking and target the right jobs. Don't use a generic resume or one size fits all. You want to ensure that you've targeted and tailored your resume to that particular position or industry. Maintain a database of who you're applying to. So whether that's through an Excel spreadsheet or whether it's in written format in a diary, ensure that you've written the date you've applied, the position, the employer, any details about the role, any contact names. You want to keep a database of who you're applying to. Be mindful of your online profiles. And perhaps consider setting up an online profile yourself through LinkedIn, a professional profile to highlight your skills and your abilities and your motivations. And also another tip would be to look at, if you have any gaps in your resume, it's best not to hide them because recruiters may see there could be gaps there. It's best to address them. So if they've been through travel or caring responsibilities, try and put that on your resume in a way that looks professional. In regards to social media, employers are taking a greater interest now in our online lives and how they match with our professional lives. So if you do have social media that you use quite regularly, just do a check that it looks professional. Also check to see who can access that. So do you have your privacy settings in a way that only people that you want to access it can? Be mindful of what you put online or what others put about you online. Is it displaying the professional image that you want others to see? And if you do want to have a more professional image online, consider creating a LinkedIn page where you can highlight those professional image. Volunteering into employability has become quite an important area to employers. It shows that you're committed to your community, but you're also committed to developing your skills and enhancing your employability. So it's a really good area for you to perhaps, get out there, give something back, but also learn and develop new skills and contribute to your community. And perhaps, network with people that you never thought of networking before with. ECU CareerHub is an opportunity for you to engage with, events, appointments and resources that are available to you. So if you want to meet with a career advisor, you can book an appointment through CareerHub. If you want to browse our resources to find out other ways of creating applications or resumes or other tools to aid in your job search, head to browse resources. And we also hold events on campus with particular employers or presentations that you may be interested in. How to contact us. There is our website, our email and our contact number at the Careers and Leadership Services. And ECU Alumni's contact details if you wish to get in touch with them as well. I'd like to thank you for taking the time to listen to this presentation and I look forward to meeting you again in the future. Thank you. Goodbye.